And we can't afford to be building to be at war and conflict with nature. We need to learn how to build to flow with nature.
Oh,
Nature does it. You look at acorns, seashells, birds' nest, beavers' dens, um, how bees will make their hives. Everybody else is building the flow with nature. And when nature comes and knocks them for a loop, they survive better than we do because we have built a flat wall and we're impeding nature. So we have to constantly paint the building. We got to repair and put new shingles on the roof.
yeah.
All these things, the maintenance is tenfold of what it would be if we were building a flow with nature. To, and so I'm trying to create an F rating.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm Kristen and I'm here with Mary Butler-Stonewall. She has a very interesting organization. She's the founder of Architectural Environmental Survival Designs for Tomorrow. They are one of the leading authorities in building code reform and disaster prevention. So we're going to get all into sustainability today. That's the focus of the conversation, and I'm really excited about it. So thanks for being here, Mary.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah. So I would love for you to kind of first set the scene of building code reform and why it's so important for the environment and just lay out exactly what it is so people know.
Um, to look at or to say building code reform, we must first look at American history in of itself of like Tornado Alley. That for almost 300 years we've been rebuilding Tornado Alley, but no one has really changed building codes. Even to this day, you can build a $350,000 home, $400,000 home, not even have the insurance on it or anything. And the very next day, a tornado can come through and your home is lost. You have no recourse. You owe the bank for a home that you never spent one night in. And this is wrong. And we must implement new building codes because of this issue, as well as the fact of the devastation of carbon emissions and the waste that is created from each disaster year after year, let alone the loss of natural resources that we're using to keep rebuilding communities that should have been built to flow with nature, not to resist it. And this is what my mission is since I was 5 years old, is to bring forth the understanding of building code reform. Granted, as a 5-year-old, I didn't know that's what the words would be needed to say what my project was. But it started as a 5-year-old little girl asking, how come our homes are not our shelter when I was going through Tornado Alley as a 5-year-old as an American nomad? I really wanted to know why our homes weren't a shelter. They were just like an umbrella because the wind can flip it the other way, just like an umbrella. So we're just basically living in tents, even though this is supposed to be a structure that is long lasting. So
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
For me, building code reform is to make it to where we don't have these problems and to bring in new codes instead of a resistance rating that we have in today's society: wind resistant, snow resistant, earth resistant, water resistant, that we need to create a flow rating instead, so we can say that it's flow, that nature can flow past or around a structure, or even through, if we're trying to capture the wind and have wind generators within the structure so the winds can flow through it too. So self-sustainability of the structure, at the same time being harmonious with nature and nature's natural flow.
Right. I mean, it's so interesting, and it's even more interesting that, this mission started at 5 years old, and, you've done such amazing work in your community and outside communities. I would love for you to talk about kind of some of the work you've done. I know you've worked overseas a lot, kind of what you're up to and what you're doing.
Well, since 2009, I've been working with impoverished communities throughout Africa and some places in Asia, but mostly through Africa, of impoverished areas, trying to help them understand how they can build the flow with nature, not to resist it. And this is like building reverse leach fields. Here in the United States, if you have a sewer system on your property, you build a leach field that bleeds all your waste matter into a field. Well, in parts of Africa, they have this monsoons that will come through, and then it's drought for 3 to 6 months, kind of like we have winter and summer here. And during that drought, more people die from starvation and lack of water. So we're trying to do is we're trying to build reverse leach fields into the floodplains of Africa. And these leach fields will leach the water out of the floodplains into man-made cisterns that would be located just outside of each community that needs that water supply to have their gardens and to drink. And because they're poor, we have to think about how can we do it sustainably for them, because they can't afford all the machinery. They can dig the holes by hand, all this, or the pits. And so we're digging the pits, we're firing the pits with clay. We line them with clay, then we put brush and stuff in there and burn it to where it hardens the walls. And then we're putting a layer on top, like a roof on it. And then we're putting the sand and the clay and the coal and all that. So as the water comes in, it leaches through all that. So by the time it gets into the man-made cistern, it's somewhat relatively clean water. So these are the kind of little things I'm doing for them, or houses that can collect water. Or if they don't have a generator in their home, I tell them how they can take um, a car alternator and make a wind generator. So repurposing materials as well as sustainable architecture, in the sense of like capturing the water and stuff. Because their main problems are that they don't have the resources to build the structures that I would like to implement. And that's one of my biggest dreams, is to actually build a community of at least 10 buildings that are self-sustaining in of themselves, and 100% based off of the flow rating that I'm trying to create. Because in reality, I could tell you and describe to you what I'm saying, but unless you could walk into that structure, you still wouldn't fully understand or grasp. And if I could build a community of at least 10 homes, I feel it's a lot like the old baseball movie, build it and they will come.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Right.
And so I've been for years looking for investors to go forth and do this. And I pay off the investors completely in full because my money's on the back end. When the EF5 tornado comes through and my home is still standing, when the 7.9 earthquake hits and not one part of my building has twisted or broke, or when the hurricane comes and my building has not been flooded, that's where my money is. And
Right.
through building code reform, we can do this. And sadly, unless I go to the insurance companies, because they're the ones that are more into the building code reform than anyone, they're tired, like they said in California, they will not insure people in California until they take care of the fire issues and do certain things to prevent fire. So the insurance companies possibly could help fund me do something like this to make that change. But other than that, everybody likes the cookie cutter mentality of build up, board up, tear down, rebuild. And we can't keep doing this.
Right.
That's how come our forests aren't growing back fast enough. And that's how come Portland cement on numerous occasions was fearful that they were going to run out of product. So we must address this because building codes affects every aspect of our lives. It affects our families. It affects our income. It affects our natural resources. It affects our insurance costs. It affects our economy. So building codes should be precedents in what we need to do and change in America more than anything else. I feel to address climate change, because people say climate change is natural, which it is, but because of inadequate building codes, climate change degradation is taking place. We are degrading the natural climate process through our construction practices. Cities are supercharging the weather, and then the lower outlying communities are suffering horrific tornadoes and other storms because of the charged atmosphere from all the black tar and the glass in the buildings. People don't realize these things because they're not studying it like I have for years, that we're not building to flow correctly with nature, that we're causing this discrepancy.
Yeah, and I would love for you to go further into your flow rating and how you actually make these buildings so strong. What are the foundational practices you use?
Well, give me 1 second here. I have to adjust myself.
Mhm.
This is so I can use my hands.
Yeah.
Right now in building codes, everything is an R rating, which is resistance, wind resistance, snow resistant, earth resistance. And this is not good. If you look up the word resistance, the two main words that come up, excuse me, my apologies, is war and conflict. And we can't afford to be building to be at war and conflict with nature. We need to learn how to build to flow with nature. Nature does it. You look at acorns, seashells, birds' nest, beavers' dens, how bees will make their hives. Everybody else is building the flow with nature. And when nature comes and knocks them for a loop, they survive better than we do because we have built a flat wall and we're impeding nature. So we have to constantly paint the building. We got to repair and put new shingles on the roof. All these things, the maintenance is tenfold of what it would be if we were building to flow with nature. And so I'm trying to create an F rating.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
And it basically says, if I can grab onto it with my fingers and pull on it, so can wind and water. And that is not building to flow with nature. That you got to be able to have that flow effect. So, the pentagons, circles, ovals, look at nature for its shapes. A shell shape. Imagine a hotel that was shaped like a shell, and the pointed part was on the backside of that structure, and the rounded part was in the front. And it was a beautiful, tall hotel, and it was scalloped on the roof. And let's say indoor pool with glass rooftop and everything. So we're not losing water out of the pool from the sun taking the water out of the pool, So needless to say, when the tsunami comes in and it hits that building, it's not going to cause a problem. It's going to flow around the building. And then because of the building being shell-shaped, on the outgoing tide, which is the worst tide during a tsunami or a hurricane, when the tide's going out, that's when all the debris is coming out and it damages buildings, and you see buildings taken right off their foundation. Well, because of the building being in that shape, it's no different than the boulder you see in the river or a stream that creates its own barrier of water to make the debris go to one side or the other. All right. So that's a perfect example. Or what I'm trying to implement into all residential homes is what I call a saddleback foundation system. Now, saddleback foundation is where there's a foundation put in the ground first, and it's scalped much like my fingers. And then when you put the home in it, if an earthquake comes, what happens to the home? Nothing, because the building in of itself is not tethered to the earth and going to get torn apart from the twisting of the earth. It actually is sitting in the saddle and just riding in the saddle. If a flood comes, the home can rise up out of that saddle and come back down. See? So now we're not having our flooded basements. And then another thing we're trying to work with is trying to get people to think about putting their yards on the first floor of their homes and have an atrium, or sunroof that shines straight down through the home. So imagine now we're in Alaska. We're in a home that's in a saddleback foundation. It's kind of like shaped like an egg on its side. It's got wind generators on either end. And it's got the solar panels around the top. It's got our sunroof right there that can gleam down. The first floor is your yard and garden area, so you can put the miniature fruit trees and all that. Second floor is your living room, dining room, and your bedrooms if you want, or you can go a third floor and put your bedrooms up there on the third floor. But needless to say, now this structure, snow loads, do we have to worry about it? Do we have to worry about bears breaking into the home? No, it's going to be so much harder for bears to break into your home when you're not there. Earthquakes, we don't have to worry about. Permafrost, it will have a better survival rate with the permafrost melting in that region. It'll have a more survival rate than those that are square buildings that don't do their weight correctly into the ground, and so they sink sideways. So they have problems with that up there. But the snow load, and then think about the winter months, you can be picking an apple off your tree in the middle of winter. And same with these desert areas, same thing. Now we're not losing all the water when we water our gardens. We're not terraforming the planet and causing irreparable damage, terraforming a region that should have never been what it is, what we're doing with it, you know,
Yep.
putting in the green and stuff. So these kind of things is what my company is about, is trying to create a sustainable structure in of itself. So it's cleaning its own gray and brown water. It's creating its own natural gas. It's also collecting its own solar and wind power, and it's collecting rainwater and dew. Now,
Wow.
if a structure did that in of itself, then we'd have real sustainable architecture. Because just because a building says it's green,
Uh-huh.
it can still succumb to nature's natural flow because it is still built to resist nature. So it's still an eco disaster waiting to happen. And that's
Yeah.
what people don't realize is our communities, an average disaster, you can create over 70,000 cubic tons of waste that can't be separated.
Wow.
And that is just excruciating when you think about how many disasters we've had just recently, or the what I've been doing. I've been writing a paper right now on the U.S. refugee, okay? And I call it U.S. state refugees. And that's because each state, U.S. citizens born and raised, are becoming refugees of natural disasters. And we can start all the way back to New Orleans. People have not returned to New Orleans since the natural disasters have been hitting.
Yeah.
There's more people from New Orleans that haven't returned. That um, the numbers are just heartbreaking when you can think that over 22 million people were displaced due to hurricanes and wildfires in 2020.
Wow.
22 million. All right. That is, but do you hear the news talking about this? Me as a
Yeah.
building code reform specialist, it's my number one priority to keep these numbers in place. That Hurricane Florence and Hurricane Michael caused over 1.4 million people to be displaced from North Carolina to Florida.
Wow.
Okay, so who are the homeless that our government is complaining about? Are they the people that are suffering these disasters?
Right.
And it goes on. The numbers are just excruciating. Over 1.7 million from Hurricane Katrina, 6 million from Hurricane Wilhelmina that hit Florida. And think about how many cubic tons of waste each one of these cause on top of those homeless people. Where do we put it? If we can't recycle it because it's so contaminated, where are we putting this waste?
Right.
Is it being buried in your backyard, in your community? So building code reform is a must. Building codes are the number one contributor to climate change degradation because the way we build is degrading our natural climate process. And so this is my number one goal, is to try to educate people about this, at the same time try to change building codes.
Right.
It's not really ever been about making money. I have not made a dime since I started this pilgrimage. I have not made a dime off of my pilgrimage. I would love to be put into a paying position, don't get me wrong, but this is a mission of the heart for all the world people, not just the United States. But I would love to do my part in the United States and find realtors that see what I'm seeing and are looking for that change and haven't been able to find it. This is my life mission.
Oh, it's so inspiring. I mean, what you're doing, it's not something that's so crazy it can't be adopted. I mean, changing the shapes of the buildings and kind of the foundation of it, it's so smart and I mean, it's such a great mission that you have and you're doing such important and probably saving so many lives and saving people's livelihoods. We're unfortunately reaching the end of our time, but I'm so happy you got to go into that in such depth because I think that a lot of people didn't even know this existed. And I think a lot of people are probably waking up, like based on what you've said. So I think it's really important.
I
Tell
I am
everybody,
on I am
yeah,
on LinkedIn as
yeah, tell
Mary.
everyone to find you.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn under Mary K. Butler and Stonewall. So it'll
Okay.
say Mary K. Butler-Stonewall. And I got that nickname Stonewall because at 18 years old in 1983, I became the youngest general contracting foreman. At only 5'5" and 117 pounds, I was in charge of construction.
Okay.
And I worked in the construction industry for over 20 years before I came forth with building code reform.
Wow.
After that little girl asked that silly question, how come our homes aren't our shelter? So
Wow. Yeah.
this is
So
very
impressive.
passionate for me.
So impressive, so inspiring. I think that you inspired so many people out there and got, I mean, you definitely have me looking at, the way we build units a lot differently, is what I'll say. I mean, you're just very inspiring. So thank you so much for being here.
And in closing, I would like
Mhm.
to bring to light that um, I am architectural, environmental, survival designs tomorrow, a disaster prevention consulting service for new construction and residential living for self-sustainability. And when
Mhm.
I say that, that has to do with things like the methamphetamine contaminated property epidemic we had in the United States that lost its thunder because of the pandemic. Before the pandemic, we were talking about nationwide about the epidemic of methamphetamine contaminated properties.
Wow.
And my company has talked to every Department of Health in the United States from every major city, and they told me they have no jurisdiction on this. And so, as a contingency expert, I went and looked at paperwork and realized that if we could amend the lead-based paint laws to become the toxic paint laws, due to the fact that paint can become impregnated with toxins during the duration or lifetime it's on the surface, that the Department of Health said if I did that, then they would have the jurisdiction to address this problem. So my
Wow.
plea to everybody out there is if you can, try to push legislation to change the lead-based paint laws to become the toxic paint laws so we can get a grip on the methamphetamine contaminated property issue throughout the United States. Thank you.
Amazing. Well, thank you again so much for being here. And I really encourage everyone to go check out Mary on LinkedIn and so you can hear more about her mission and what the amazing work she's doing here and abroad. And we hope that you learned a lot today and we hope you got some inspiration today. So thank you everybody for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.